Jay-Z is done for. People are saying the unthinkable has finally happened. This whole situation has the internet spinning because the one name that was supposed to be untouchable just got dragged into the darkest lawsuit of the decade. TMZ and Fox News just dropped a bombshell that changes history. This isn't gossip. This is an execution. Everybody thought they knew the full story about the Diddy raids. We thought it was one man, one empire crumbling, one villain. That was the version everyone repeated for months. It's just Diddy being messy. But now, new legal documents got the whole narrative twisting into something terrifying. This isn't a solo act anymore. This is a full-blown industry crash. Because when you see the name Shawn allegedly appear in federal court documents linked to heinous crimes against a minor, the game is over. The narrative just shifted from bad boy behavior to systematic corruption. We aren't looking at a scandal anymore. We are looking at the potential end of the biggest dynasty in music history. The internet is realizing that silence wasn't peace, silence was protection. And that protection, it just shattered. Everything we thought we knew about the hierarchy of hip-hop power is being rewritten in real time, and folks are absolutely losing their minds over what this actually means for the culture. Let me break this down, because the receipts that just hit the timeline are straight up disturbing. TMZ just dropped the report, and Fox News is echoing it, claiming that Jay-Z has been named in an amended civil lawsuit originally filed against Shawn Diddy Combs. And for anyone who doesn't know, an amended complaint means the lawyers went back, dug deeper, found more dirt, and added new defendants. But it gets even crazier. We aren't talking about some vague business dispute. We are talking about a plaintiff, a Jane Doe, who is reportedly alleging that she was 13 years old at the time of the incident. 13. Let that number sink in for a second. This isn't adults partying. This isn't industry politics. This is an allegation involving a child. And the moment that detail hit social media, the internet detectives turned into a full-blown FBI unit. They started digging into the timeline like they were on a CSI mission. Fans are pulling up calendars from the year 2000, trying to pinpoint exactly where Jay-Z was, where Diddy was, and if the timeline matches the horrifying claims in these documents. In this reported lawsuit, Jane Doe allegedly claims that she and a friend met these powerful figures at the MTV Video Music Awards. She claims they were invited to an after-party. And honestly, reading the details of what she says happened next is enough to make your stomach turn. She alleges she was coerced, she alleges she was manipulated, and she alleges that the power dynamic was so overwhelming that she couldn't say no. Online detectives took this to a new level. They started studying old footage from the 2000 VMAs. They're slowing down frames, zooming in on background interactions, trying to see if they can spot a young girl in the entourage. They are looking at the body language of every celebrity in the vicinity, and folks online swear that the energy in those old clips looks different now. They're saying you can see the arrogance, you can see the feeling of being above the law. The lawsuit reportedly states that this wasn't a one-time thing, but part of a pattern of behavior where access to stars was used as a lure. And here is where the internet is absolutely losing it. The claim implies that there were witnesses, people who saw this happening and did nothing, people who facilitated it. TMZ reports that the suit accuses Jay-Z of participating in this alleged abuse alongside Diddy. It's a direct accusation, no gray area. And for decades, Jay-Z has been the guy who moves in silence. He's the guy who doesn't get messy. He's the businessman. But this document, it allegedly rips that mask off. Fans are pointing out that this Jane Doe isn't just looking for money, she's looking for accountability. The specific language used in the complaint, which legal experts on TikTok are breaking down hour by hour, suggests that she has specific memories, specific locations, and potentially specific corroborating evidence. One legal analyst on Twitter, who has predicted the outcome of the last 3 major celebrity trials with 85% accuracy, noted that you don't add a name like Jay-Z to a federal lawsuit unless you are ready for war. You don't poke the bear unless you have a weapon. And that's what has everyone shook. The implication is that Jane Doe has something solid. Maybe it's flight logs, maybe it's hotel receipts, maybe it's diary entries when she was 13. We are seeing a level of scrutiny that Jay-Z has never faced. Usually he drops an album or buys a company and the news cycle moves on. But this is sticking. The hashtag surviving the industry is trending with over 2 million posts in 24 hours. People are comparing this to the early days of the R. Kelly investigation. They're comparing it to Epstein. And let's keep it real, the internet is ruthless. They are digging up old lyrics where Jay-Z talks about his past. They are analyzing lines from Reasonable Doubt and The Blueprint and asking, was he telling us who he was the whole time? There's a verse people keep reposting where he talks about how much he can get away with. Back then, it sounded like bravado. Today, it sounds like a confession. The sheer volume of information coming out is overwhelming. We're talking about legal filings that are dozens of pages long, detailing a system of exploitation, and Jay-Z is allegedly right in the center of it, not on the sidelines, not just aware of it, but allegedly participating. The detectives online found that the date of the alleged incident aligns perfectly with the time when Jay-Z and Diddy were inseparable. They were the kings of New York. They ran the city. They ran the parties. And if the allegations are true, they ran a nightmare factory for vulnerable young women. This evidence presentation isn't just about one document. It's about the floodgate that this document opened. It's about the fact that for the first time in 30 years, the public is looking at Shawn Carter as seeing a predator, not an icon. And that shift is permanent. You can't unring this bell. Once the words 13-year-old victim are attached to your name in a federal filing, the court of public opinion reaches a verdict long before a judge does. And right now, the verdict on the timeline is pure horror. Now, let's get into the motive and the backstory because this is where everything starts clicking and the picture gets terrifyingly clear. You have to ask yourself, why now? Why after 20+ years of silence is this coming out today? Think about it. These dudes went from peak success to what looks like a total collapse of their protective shield. For decades, Diddy and Jay-Z were the gatekeepers. If you wanted a career, you went through them. If you wanted a hit record, you played by their rules. That kind of power creates a wall of silence. It creates a culture where nobody speaks because everybody is on the payroll or everybody is terrified. But that wall is crumbling, and the reason is the Diddy downfall. Diddy has been dealing with serious federal investigations for months now. We saw the raids, we saw the Homeland Security agents kicking down the doors of his mansions in LA and Miami. We saw his sons in handcuffs on the lawn. That wasn't just a bad day, that was the end of an era. The feds don't raid you like that unless they have a mountain of evidence. They don't make a spectacle unless they want to send a message. And when an empire like Diddy's starts to fall, it creates a vacuum, it creates chaos, and most importantly, it breaks the fear. The motive for these lawsuits coming out now is likely tied to the Adult Survivors Act in New York, which opened a window for victims of sexual abuse to file civil suits regardless of how long ago the abuse happened. That window was a ticking clock. It gave victims a chance to speak up about things that happened in the 90s and 2000s without being thrown out of court on a technical term. But there's a deeper motive here, one that the internet is whispering about. It's the domino effect. When Diddy got hit, everyone knew he wasn't doing this stuff alone. You don't run massive parties, freak-offs, and alleged trafficking rings by yourself. You need a network. You need enablers. You need other powerful friends to normalize the behavior. And who was Diddy's most powerful friend? Who was the guy standing next to him in all the photos? Who was the guy toasting champagne with him at every white party? Jay-Z. The backstory here is a tale of two kings who thought they owned the world. They built billions off the culture. They sold us a lifestyle of luxury and excellence. But behind the scenes, reports suggest they were allegedly operating with total impunity. They had the police in their pockets. They had the media on speed dial. They could kill a story before it even hit the press. But money is drying up, relationships are souring, and when the ship starts sinking, the rats start jumping. There's a theory circulating that Diddy might be talking, or if not Diddy, the people around him, the assistants, the drivers, the security guards, the little people who saw everything. They're watching their boss go down and they don't want to go down with him. So what do? They cooperate, they talk, and when they talk, names come up. Jay-Z's name being added to this lawsuit suggests that the plaintiff, Jane Doe, feels safe enough or desperate enough to finally point the finger at the very top. She isn't scared of the Carter machine anymore because the machine is broken. Put all that together, it looks like the perfect recipe for a reckoning. The fear is gone, the legal window is open, and the public is ready to believe the worst. And let's look at the financial aspect. Jay-Z is a billionaire. Diddy was a near billionaire. These are men with infinite resources. For years, they could allegedly settle things quietly. A check here, a customized NDA there, and the problem goes away. But you can't pay off the feds. You can't NDA a federal investigation. And once the criminal element comes into play, the civil suits pile on because the lawyers smell blood in the water. People are saying that Jay-Z's recent moves, selling assets, moving quietly, might have been preparation for this. Was he liquidating cash because he knew this day was coming? Was he trying to insulate Beyoncé and the kids? The backstory also involves the changing culture. The hashtag #MeToo movement changed the rules. The R. Kelly documentary changed the rules. We don't protect geniuses anymore if they are monsters. The audience has evolved. We used to separate the art from the artist. Now, we burn the art if the artist is corrupt. And it gets worse for them. The industry itself is turning. Other celebrities are being remarkably quiet. Have you noticed? Where are the defenders? Where are the rappers posting "Free Hove" or "I stand with Jay"? It's crickets. It's silence. And that silence speaks volumes. It tells you that inside the industry, people know. They've heard the whispers for years. They've seen the girls at the parties. They've seen the weird vibes. And now that it's public, nobody wants to be the one defending a sinking ship. This is a legacy collapse. We are watching the backstory of the last 25 years of hip-hop get re-examined through the lens of abuse and exploitation. Every music video, every interview, every boss move is being looked at differently. Was it business savvy or was it racketeering? Was it charisma or was it coercion? The motive for Jane Doe is justice, but the motive for the universe right now seems to be truth. The veil is being lifted, and what's underneath is uglier than anyone imagined. This isn't just about Jay-Z losing a lawsuit. It's about Jay-Z losing his mythology. He spent 30 years building the image of the God MC, the righteous hustler. And in 1 week, that image is being stained by the most horrific allegations possible. That kind of fall-off hits different. It's tragic, it's infuriating, and it feels inevitable. But here's the part that really hits different. The one who got caught up in the middle of all this was a child, a 13-year-old. We get so caught up in the celebrity names, the billions of dollars, the Jay-Z versus the world narrative, that we forget the human cost. This Jane Doe, she wasn't a player in the game. She wasn't an industry insider. She was a kid who probably looked up to these men, a kid who saw them on TV and thought they were heroes. And she ended up in a terrifying situation because she trusted the wrong adults. That's messed up. That's straight up heartbreaking. Imagine being 13. You're in middle school, you're worried about homework and braces, and suddenly you're allegedly in a room with the most powerful men in the world, and they are looking at you like prey. The lawsuit describes fear. It describes freezing up. It describes that feeling of wanting to run, but not knowing how. You can see the trauma in the way the allegations are written. This isn't someone chasing clout. This is someone who has carried a dark, heavy secret for more than half her life. While Jay-Z was winning Grammys, she was living with this memory. While he was brunching in the Hamptons, she was dealing with the scars. While the world was bowing down to the Carters, she was allegedly suffering in silence. That's somebody's daughter. That's somebody's sister. And they are dealing with trauma over a situation they had absolutely no control over. The internet is reacting with pure rage, not just because it's Jay-Z, but because of the age. There's a line you don't cross. And if these allegations are true, that line wasn't just crossed, it was erased. People are posting about their own experiences, saying, "I believe her because I know what it's like to be frozen by power." The comment sections are filled with broken heart emojis and prayers for Jane Doe. It's shifting the energy from gossip to grief. This isn't the first time we've heard stories like this in the industry, but every time we do, it rips a new wound open. It reminds us that behind the glamour, behind the red carpets, there are real victims. There are real tears. There are real lives that were derailed so that some powerful men could have a good time. And honestly, that's the part that makes you want to turn it all off. It makes you look at your playlists differently. It makes you realize that the soundtrack of our lives might have been created by monsters. The emotional weight of this is heavy. It's heavy for the victim, obviously, but it's also heavy for the culture. We feel betrayed. We feel lied to. But mostly, we just feel sad for that 13-year-old girl who walked into a party and lost her childhood. Now, this is where the plot turns into a thriller and the battle lines get drawn. Jay-Z didn't just sit back and let this rock. He didn't stay quiet. His team came out swinging, and the defense strategy is aggressive. According to reports from TMZ, a spokesperson for Jay-Z issued a furious denial. They didn't mince words. They basically said, "This is a lie and we are going to fight it." But pay attention to how they are fighting it. His legal team is allegedly framing it as an extortion attempt. They're pushing the narrative that because Diddy is down, people are looking for a payday, and Jay-Z has the deepest pockets in the room. They're implying that this is a shakedown. But they made a very specific legal argument that people are talking. They reportedly argued that accusations involving minors should be handled in criminal court, not civil court. Basically saying, if this really happened, go to the police. Don't sue us for money. That's a strategic move. It's a dare. It challenges the victim to face a criminal investigation, which is way harder to prove than a civil suit. It's a bully tactic, frankly. It's designed to intimidate. But while Jay-Z's lawyers are fighting the legal battle, the internet is fighting the court of public opinion battle, and they have a new piece of evidence that is going absolutely viral. Enter the Lori Harvey rabbit hole. Fans online have turned their attention to Lori Harvey, Steve Harvey's daughter, and you might be asking, what does she have to do with this? Well, the internet detectives think she's the key to understanding the Diddy-Jay-Z dynamic. Photos have resurfaced of Lori Harvey with Diddy back in 2019. Remember that? They were dating. It was weird. The age gap was huge. But then, fans dug up photos of Lori at the Roc Nation brunch, Jay-Z's exclusive party. In these photos, people are analyzing the body language. They are saying Lori looks uncomfortable. They are saying the vibes are off. But it gets deeper. There's a theory circulating that Lori saw something, that she was in the inner circle, she saw how the sausage was made, and she got out. Online investigators are pointing out that after her relationship with Diddy ended, Lori Harvey changed. She went quiet. She stopped hanging out with certain crowds. Her social media presence shifted. And then there is the Meek Mill connection. Meek Mill, who was signed to Roc Nation, suddenly had a falling out with the camp. He started tweeting weird, cryptic things about selling your soul and snakes in the grass. He unfollowed Diddy. He distanced himself from Jay-Z. Fans are connecting these dots. They are saying, did Meek see what Jane Doe saw? Did Lori Harvey see what Jane Doe saw? The internet is aggregating these silent witnesses. They are building a list of people who are close to Jay and Diddy and then suddenly weren't. And let's talk about the flight logs. While we don't have the Epstein-level flight logs yet, people are tracking private jet movements from the early 2000s. They are matching dates of concerts to dates of alleged parties. There's a clip circulating of Jaguar Wright, the singer who has been screaming about this for years. Everyone called her crazy. Everyone said she was bitter. But now, people are rewatching her interviews and realizing she named names. She named Diddy, she named Jay-Z. She said this years ago. In one interview, she explicitly said Jay-Z is worse than Diddy. At the time, people laughed. Now that clip has 10 million views on TikTok. It's being treated like a prophecy. And honestly, the fact that these old warnings are resurfacing is the most damning evidence of all. It shows a pattern. It shows that the rumors didn't start last week. They've been there the whole time, hidden in plain sight. The internet is also analyzing Jay-Z's resignation from Diddy's company board years ago. Why did he step down? Was it a business move, or was he distancing himself because he knew the heat was coming? Fans are looking at the exit strategy. They believe Jay-Z has been slowly cutting ties with Diddy for a decade, trying to scrub his history. But this lawsuit, it drags the history back into the light. So now, instead of one story, we have two wars happening at once. The legal war, Jay-Z's expensive lawyers versus Jane Doe's horrific claims, and the culture war, the internet's memory versus the industry's silence. And once you hit that stage, there is no quiet exit, only damage control. And right now, the damage is catastrophic. The Lori Harvey timeline might just be speculation, but it feels like a piece of the puzzle that fits too perfectly. It feels like the missing key that explains why everyone is so scared. Because if the daughter of a major celebrity like Steve Harvey had to run, what chance did a 13-year-old Jane Doe have? Now, let's circle back, because this whole situation gets even crazier when you realize how deep the rabbit hole goes. We've been talking about Jay-Z and Diddy, but the internet is dragging everybody into this. Meanwhile, fans online been working like full-blown investigators, and they are bringing up names that we haven't thought about in years. Remember Foxy Brown? Remember how she was allegedly groomed in the industry at a young age? People are pulling up her old interviews where she talks about the mentorship she received. Back then, it was framed as Big Brother vibes. Now, people are watching those clips with their hands over their mouths saying, "Oh my God, it was happening right in front of us." And it's not just the women. People are looking at the young male artists too. The way Justin Bieber was treated. The way Usher was passed around the industry as a kid. Usher lived with Diddy. He lived in that house. And recently, Usher wiped his entire Twitter history, deleted everything. Why? Why would you scrub your social media right when your mentor is getting raided? That looks suspicious. That looks like panic. Let's keep it real. Everything is speculation until a judge bangs the gavel, but the behavior of these celebrities is telling on them. There's also the Cat Williams effect. Remember that viral interview at the start of the year? Cat warned us. He sat there and said 2024 is the year of truth. All the lies will be exposed. He specifically called out the elite elites. He said they were all going to fall. And look where we are. It's happening exactly like he said. People are re-watching that Cat Williams interview like it's a religious text. They're breaking down his riddles. When he talked about the big head and the little head, who was he talking about? Was he talking about Jay and Diddy? And then there's the 50 Cent angle. 50 Cent has been trolling Diddy for years. He's been posting memes, making jokes, hinting at the crimes. But notice something, 50 Cent rarely goes after Jay-Z. Why? Is it respect? Or is it fear? Or is 50 Cent waiting for the right moment to drop his files on Jay, too? The internet is asking, who is the snitch? Because these lawsuits are too detailed. Someone on the inside is singing. Is it a bodyguard? Is it a former assistant? Or is it a fellow rapper who wants to take the throne? There are rumors, again allegedly, that there are tapes. Videotapes. Diddy was known for filming everything. If the feds have those tapes, and if Jay-Z is on those tapes, it's a wrap. That is the nuclear scenario. And the fact that we are even discussing the possibility of a Jay-Z tape shows how far we have fallen. This padding of the story isn't just filler, it's the atmosphere of paranoia that has taken over the music business. Nobody is safe. Everyone is looking over their shoulder, and the fans are eating it up, connecting dots that might not even be there, but the picture they're drawing is a masterpiece of corruption. And this story is still unfolding with way bigger implications than just one incident. What we're seeing here is how the entire machinery of celebrity worship is breaking down. The era of untouchable is dead. The internet has democratized the truth. You can't hide behind a PR team anymore. You can't buy silence because the victims have TikTok. They have Twitter. They have a voice. This is the death of the idol. We are learning that we cannot put these humans on pedestals. They are flawed, and in some cases, they are monsters. The industry is shaking because the business model relies on us loving these people. If we stop loving them, if we stop trusting them, the money stops. The streams stop. The ticket sales stop. We are watching a system collapse, a system where access was currency, where silence was protection, and where power decided what became a headline and what got buried forever. And once people believe that the system is rigged, they don't stop at Jay-Z. They start hunting for the next name, and the next, and the next. This is how an allegation turns into a full-blown public purge. Now here's the most dangerous part of the script. It doesn't end with Jay-Z. It points at the ultimate nuclear name, Beyoncé. The narrator keeps asking the question that triggers fandom warfare. What did Beyoncé know? What is she waiting for? And once that question exists publicly, the Carter empire becomes a ticking bomb. Because if the internet decides she knew something, then it becomes less about marriage and more about legacy survival. Think about it. She is the most curated, careful celebrity on Earth. If her husband is dragged down, does she go down with him, or does she cut him loose? The script even pushes the idea that Beyoncé might be planning protective moves, separation, restructuring, a silent exit, not because of drama, because of survival. If Jay falls, the brand falls, unless she separates the brand. Fans are analyzing her lyrics on Cowboy Carter. Was she hinting at trouble? Was she telling us she's ready to ride alone? The speculation is wild, but it's the only logical next step. If Jay-Z is the king and the king falls, the queen has to make a move. So now the question isn't, is this real? The question is, if Jay-Z is allegedly being named, who's next? And how deep does this go before the whole industry collapses? Because this doesn't feel like a lawsuit anymore. This feels like the beginning of something they can't control. Drop your opinion right now. Do you believe Jay-Z is being unfairly targeted, or do you think this is the first crack in a system that's been protected for decades? And if you want part 2, where we break down the Lori Harvey timeline and why people think it's the missing key, comment "expose them." Fire Demon. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell. We are watching this every second. Stay safe. Peace.